Chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Finance, James Falake, last week assured Nigerians that the tax reform bills will produce widely acceptable laws. Falake gave this assurance after the House considered the adopted the report on the four tax reform bills during its session in Abuja. The bills include the Nigerian Tax Bill, the Tax Administration Bill, the Revenue Tax Board Bill, and the Nigerian Revenue Service Establishment Bill. Now, to speak on how this will spur economic growth and development, we have Olufemi Michael Olarinde, Head Fiscal and Tax Reforms Implementation Division of the FIRS, and I think for the main time we were actually scheduled to have two guests, but we have this gentleman in the house. You're welcome to Business Express.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, beautiful. We've seen the president have centered the tax reform bills now. To actually pick on your thoughts, what are your thoughts actually on the overall structure of the tax reform bills, and do they align with international best practice?
Okay, thank you for having me. Actually, the tax reform bill, it's actually a transformative journey in our fiscal policies in Nigeria. It's a significant step towards our fiscal framework, and it actually intends to conform with international best practice. It simplifies the system, so it's not our tax system has been said to be one of the complicated system. Actually, tax itself as a subject is a bit complicated. So when the procedure, the administration, and the system is complicated, it makes it more difficult to do. So this tax reform is actually a laudable project embarked on by government, because it intends to simplify the tax system. It harmonizes the taxes, provide clarity in taxation rules. It also provides takes away burden for businesses, for low-income earners, and ultimately, we believe when these are done, when the system is simplified, burdens are taken away from those who are not supposed to pay. You concentrate on the economy, you concentrate on the businesses who are doing very well, so you could plug leakages, and ultimately, we believe that this will provide more revenue for government.
Okay, do you see this actually addressing the current issue of scarcity of resources now for most government, not just only in Nigeria but around the world? But do you see this actually addressing some of the gaps and help government with the needed resources to actually drive development in the country?
Okay, let me talk about domestic resource mobilization. Providing resources for government is just about mobilizing the right revenue. Now, how do you also mobilize revenue when the economy it's not it's actually down? So, but what do you do using fiscal reforms to ensure that you can kickstart the economy? You look at the sectors that need to be incentivized. You give such sectors such incentives so that they can grow. So you can also have opportunity to face the sectors that are actually making good, and you could use the resources available to also ensure that you plug the necessary loopholes, like I've spoken about, simplifying your tax rules, because many people, not because they don't want to comply, some even have problem understanding the rules. So the tax reform that aims to make all this very easy, and like I said, ultimately, it will provide funds for government. Also looking at areas of digital economy, gone are the days during where we do businesses by the brick and mortar way. Now business has gone digitalized. So how do you also use the manual ways to now collect taxes from the digital economy? So this tax bill also try to enhance the power of the tax authorities across the subnational to encourage them to digitize their systems, their processes, and the administration, and ultimately, definitely, we can harness the right resources and revenue to fund government business.
Now, the reforms retain the VAT rate at 7.5%, while exempting essential goods and services. How will this affect Nigeria's revenue generation capacity?
Okay, true. The first thing is there was a proposal to increase the VAT rate to 15%. And this proposal was anchored based on trying to liberalize the VAT system and the VAT structure we have in Nigeria. Presently, our VAT structure, VAT is supposed to have what is a tax that is imposed on the consumption of goods and services, or what we call vatable supplies. And whoever consumes, so it's supposed to be the one, the final consumer bears the VAT. But the system we have presently, there is a structure that only restricts what we call input VAT claim, because when you purchase, you incur what they call the input VAT. Then when you sell, you collect what they call output VAT. So the VAT structure allows you to take away the input VAT that you suffered from the output VAT collected before you remit the rest to government. So the system was restricts some level of input VAT, restrict your overheads, restrict your services, and restrict assets, VAT on this. So the proposal was to allow all this input VAT to be claimed. However, if such is allowed, it may impact on revenue. So that is why there was a proposal to increase. However, by and large, we can see the debate because of the headline rate. People did not understand the technicalities around there, so there was an outcry about the increase. So now it's been, the House of Rep from their proposal said they had to retain the 7.5%. Well, we believe that retaining the 7.5% will take away the outcry, and ultimately also we douse every tension of inflation. And I will believe that even after the passage of this bill, everything should be as it is. However, I will believe expanding the proposal to expand the tax base will help to also show up revenue.
Okay,
by and large, we should be fine.
You know, do the reforms actually provide, sufficiently, to address concerns about tax equity, especially for low-income earners and SMEs?
Yeah, sure. You know, when the reform committee was set up, the president gave them some charge, and he said, I don't want us to tax the seed, but we want to tax fruits. We are not going to be taxing poverty, but we should tax prosperity. So what it means in a nutshell is, for businesses that are struggling, can you give them a tax break? Can you allow them do businesses without tax? So there are proposals in the bill that are aimed presently today. If you are a business that your turnover is not more than 25 million, you are exempt from the payment of company's income tax. So what the proposal has done is that, okay, considering inflation and considering everything, it's been doubled. So the tax bill is now saying that if you have 50 million turnover, you should only pay 0 rate of tax. 0. Of course, we know 0 of anything is 0. So it means that for people who have businesses and their turnover is not more than 50 million, they pay 0 rate of tax. And it doesn't stop there. If they do business and their turnover is still not more than 50%, they do not collect VAT. So doing business, it makes them more competitive and makes them make more money. And this is for small businesses. For individuals also, for individuals who earn 800,000 naira, I also pay tax at 0 rate. Also, the government is considering people given what we call a rent relief of 200,000 naira. And so this is further to ensure that people are not going into poverty, but taxing people who are actually prospering. And these are things the reform aims to do to actually ensure that people are better even after the reforms.
Okay, you as as a tax authority, this reform, is there any unintended consequences that people or government should anticipate from the implementation of this particular, or the reforms?
So when you say unintended consequences, okay, I may say definitely when you're doing something new, there's bound to be some level of misunderstanding. And of course, if government is reducing the number of people who will be paying taxes, and if government is reducing some class of persons not to collect taxes, is government is liberalizing and providing more incentives for businesses. I would say it's unintended, and I think it's just as simple as ABC, that revenue may be a bit, may dwindle a bit, may stagger a bit, maybe for the first few months, and we believe that by and large, there's something in the bill that also will now make this, that will balance up, that makes it, because like I spoke about digitization, we are deploying technology so that those who were supposed to be paying before now and who are not paying can be seen easily. So we have tools like data analytics, we have tools like e-invoicing and fiscalization that will ensure that we can see more people, as some have been exempted, many more are getting into the tax net. So by and large, it will balance up for whatever is going to be lost that may be unintended.
You know, critics have this particular opinion about, well, as much as we know that the tax bill will help somehow, attract more resources for the government, what about the issue of transparency when it comes to using those resources for, the greater good of the public?
Okay, thank you. We already know that taxation is a two-way thing. While government expects citizens to pay their taxes, there is a social contract that the citizens also expect that government use these taxes for the well-being of the citizenry. So the first thing we need to first do is to ensure that even the right people, the people who are supposed to pay these taxes, are sincere enough to pay taxes. It's only when you have fulfilled your obligation that you now come back to government and start asking government what they've done. However, we won't say it's not possible to do this. And I'm sure in a democratic setting, there's always there's some level of check and balances. There are people who have been given the opportunity, who have been given the responsibility to also check.
But as much as we are doing more to see that we have somehow boosted the tax system, what are we actually doing to see that we have punishment in place for those who misuse our resources?
Okay, punishment in place for those who misuse resources. So it depends on the level you're talking about. So if someone is caught today being fraudulent in government, I'm sure that there are punishment in place, and there are agencies that have been given saddled with that responsibility of doing that. For the Federal Inland Revenue Service, our job is to collect, harness as much revenue that can be lawfully collected. And after that has been done, we believe that other agencies can take up from there. Government have put in place several machineries to do that. And I'm sure that from what we've been learning from the government in place, our government has been introducing some laudable project and infrastructure project. You know of the student loan fund, you know of the consumer credit, and these are some things we can say government is actually trying to show some level of responsibility with what they do with taxes. And I think we should support government, especially at this time.
Okay, thank you very much, Olufemi Michael Olarinde, Head Fiscal and Tax Reforms Implementation Division of the FIRS. Thank you for sharing your thought with us.
Thank you for having me.